Okay guys, you know how it is. You get paid every single month, and before you know it, the month passes by and you're thinking to yourself, where on earth has all my money gone? The decision you make about where your money goes every single month is what separates people who perhaps live on a paycheck to paycheck basis compared to people who are either financially secure or working towards becoming financially independent. Today I want to share with you guys 8 places your money needs to go to on autopilot on a monthly basis. This decision is one that you should have made even before your money hits your bank account. And so today's video is absolutely important because if you get this right and if you're able to create these buckets for your money, I can pretty much guarantee that by following this simple approach of telling your money where to go, you can be somebody who can gradually begin to work your way towards becoming a millionaire one day. Even if your goal is not to become a millionaire. The things I'm going to be sharing on today's video will help you move from where you are today towards a place of financial security and potentially financial independence. We're going to make today's video really practical. So I'm going to be sharing the 8 places I recommend that your money should be going every month. Next, I'm going to be sharing the key principles that really underlie why I've chosen those 8 places. And then finally, I want to end with a practical illustration. Let's keep it real. I'm going to show you a practical example for somebody who's earning about £30,000 per annum. And I'm going to walk you through from their gross income to their net income. And then we're going to go step by step and deduct those specific percentages so you can visually see how that money gets allocated on a monthly basis. If you're really enjoying today's video, hey, show us some love on this channel. Hit the like button and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to share this video with one other person who you think might get some value from watching today's video. Let's dive in now and talk budgeting and how to save your money every single month as it hits your bank account. All right, so the first place your money should go every month should be to your pension. That's right. This should actually happen before your money has hit your bank account. This is the beauty of paying money into your pensions and saving that way because you are doing it from your gross income. If you are somebody who works for an employer who matches your contributions into your pension, then this is literally free money, guys. You should be all over it. Our suggestion here is to aim for around 10% of your gross income being paid into your pension. Although I've suggested 10%, I generally say anything between 5% and 15% is considered very good contribution into your pension, particularly if your employer is also matching it. If you run a business, let's say you have your business within a limited company, one way in which you can make contributions into your pension is to do it directly from your company itself into your own pension, but via a company scheme, i.e. you'd need to set up a company pension scheme and make that contribution straight from there into an account under your name if you are a director of your own limited company. This is fantastic, again, because not only is the money coming out of your business, so it's not coming out of your own pocket directly, but it's coming out of the business, it's also a tax deductible expense for the business itself. If you are somebody who does not run a company, but you are self-employed, you can make a pension contribution through a self-invested personal pension, which is a type of pension account that helps you achieve the same outcome of saving money and getting back the tax that you might have paid if you are making that payment from your net income. Okay, so you've made a contribution from your pension. And so now we're going to move on to you receiving your salary into your bank accounts. Hit your current account. And from that current account, you now want to set up some automations for where you'd love for your money to go on a monthly basis. So the second place your money should go should be towards you saving for an emergency fund. Now, I mention this because an emergency fund's absolutely critical given the times we're in. I mean, we've all seen over the last few months and over the last 12 months, our lives have been changed drastically. And the emergency fund, if you had one, would have come in very handy in such uncertain times. So aim for an emergency fund of anything between 3 months and 6 months worth of your monthly expenses put away. And the goal here is to keep this money as liquid as possible and keep it accessible such that if that emergency shows up, if your boiler breaks down, if your car has a flat tire, you are not having to rely on debt by using a credit card to pay for something, but you're actually now then relying on that emergency fund. So I'd suggest here aiming for around 5% of your net income as a contribution towards your emergency fund every month. And once you've actually then saved up the 3 to 6 months worth of expenses put away within your emergency fund, what you then want to do is then take that 5%, which you'd ordinarily contribute towards your emergency fund, and roll it into account number 3, which is for you to make sure that you are investing into your stocks and shares ISA. What I'd suggest here is for you to aim to invest at least 15% of your net income into your stocks and shares ISA. You're putting that in, and then you're using that to make investments that will support your future long-term goals, such as you perhaps working towards becoming financially independent or even becoming a millionaire one day. I know that 15% sounds like quite a high percentage for some people, and I get it because a lot of people struggle to even save 5% of their income. But this is where having these percentages, which are by no means perfect, but a guide, will help you begin to make the necessary changes around various aspects of your lifestyle in order for you to prioritize investing money to support your own future. So you notice that the first 3 accounts I've mentioned so far, your pension, your emergency fund, and your stocks and shares ISA, have all been about paying yourself first, okay? So now we've looked after paying yourself. The next thing we want to do is to now focus on your needs, the things that you need in your life to basically get by. So account number 4 is for money to go automatically to another account designated for your needs. It's absolutely important to be clear on what needs are versus what wants are in your life. Your needs are your necessities, things such as you having money for your rent or your mortgage, or for your insurance. Protection is such an important part of this journey towards building wealth. So things such as having home insurance, critical illness insurance, life insurance, these are important types of insurance that you need to potentially explore in your life depending on what your personal circumstances are. And then of course, let's not forget food, because you need food to survive and get by every day. Other things such as your holiday, whether you're spending on having takeaway or getting an Uber, and not your needs, by the way. Okay, so the 5th place your money should go should be towards debt payoff, okay? So I'm assuming you might have some debt in your life. So if you do have some debt, then I'd suggest allocating 10% of your net income every month towards paying off some debt. Now, the thing about paying off debt is that there are 2 core methods for doing this: the debt snowball versus the debt avalanche. We've made a previous video explaining the merits of these 2 methods. The thing about a debt snowball, which is where you are focusing on the smallest bit of debt you've got first and clearing that before you move on to the next debt. The thing about that method is that it's quite good for keeping you motivated. Although in previous videos, I've suggested that the debt avalanche, which is where you are paying off the most expensive debt, is the most efficient way for you to pay off your debt. In many cases, and this has been shown by way of research, the debt snowball actually works really well if you are somebody who has lots of different types of debt. Okay, so the 6th place your money should go is towards fun and the things that you might class as your wants. So these are things such as you going away, buying takeaway, paying for your Uber, things like that. And I'd suggest allocating 5% of your net income towards this area. Now, again, this is just a guide, because if you're somebody who does not have any debts, as I mentioned in a previous section where you are paying down debt with 10%, then you might want to allocate a bit more towards this pot for your fund, or you might want to use some of that money and do a bit more investing. So these percentages I'm mentioning are a guide. It's kind of get you started somewhere, and then you can gradually tweak it as you go along. Now, this bit about fun is absolutely important. I've seen this in my personal life, as a family man and as a business owner. Having fun is so important. And I'm sure you can identify as well, if you've got, perhaps a 9-to-5 job, it can be quite challenging working all those hours every single week without actually carving out some time for some fun. So make it a key feature of your budget to allocate at least 5% of your budget every single month towards just spending on things that you really like and things that you think add value to your life. I, for example, love just having time away in a different environment. So a key feature in our budget is trying to book some time away just to kind of change my environment, have some fun, and give me a whole new perspective. All right, so the seventh place your money should go is to go towards giving. Now, I know this one is one that not too many people might ordinarily expect to be budgeted for, but I think that putting money towards giving is such an important part of doing life. We should not just think of our money as just being all about us, i.e. like we just spend all the money we make on just our own lives and that's it. Because there are people out there that need our support, whether it be family members, whether it be strangers. Just having a section of your budget dedicated towards helping other people is really a key part of what we refer to as achieving financial joy in our lives. Using some money that we earn for causes that we're passionate about and supporting people who really need it is a big part of what makes us happy and what keeps us working even harder, because we know that a part of the money we make is there to support other people on their journeys as well. So though I've allocated 10% here, it could be quite different for you. You might be somebody who says, well, actually, at this very moment, I'm only really able to do, a little bit, perhaps a fixed amount, maybe £50 a month or whatever, because you are trying to pay off some debts in your life. Or you could be that person who says, well, actually, I make enough in my life and I can do way more than 10%. We know people who do way more than 10% allowance. So do what works for you. But the key thing is to do it from the heart and see giving as not a chore, but a key part of what gives meaning to your life specifically. Okay, so the eighth place for your money to go is towards your growth and risk pot, okay? Now, this is a pot of money that you are putting away for experimental reasons, for exploring things that you might find interesting, could be a side hustle, a business idea, could be a new type of investment that you really want to explore for learning and to kind of see how your money might grow by experimenting in that specific type of investment. What we recommend here is for you to allocate 5% of your net income towards your growth and risk pot, okay? A key part of what I really, really highly recommend you do with this pot of money is to productize yourself. I heard Naval Ravikant explain this idea of productizing yourself in a really interesting way. It means taking who you are and taking your abilities and productizing it as a way for you to generate more money. And the way he explained it was this. The two words, productize yourself. The word productize has what's known as leverage. And leverage means that you are essentially doing something that can multiply your efforts. When you have some inputs going in, leverage is what multiplies that such that it becomes 2 times, 3 times, 5 times the effort that you've put in. For example, a good example of leverage is what I'm doing right now by creating media on the internet, by creating this video on YouTube. This platform and this media has the potential for this video to reach thousands of people and potentially even millions of people over a period of time. Compared to if I was making this video with you, seated with me here in this room, that particular piece of content would only reach you or perhaps just a handful of people by me teaching it in this room specifically. So for example, media in effect acts as a form of leverage. The piece about yourself is important because you possess various bits of specialized knowledge and abilities that can be packaged in a really unique way in order for you to generate a bit more income. So aside from just using that 5% that I suggested for perhaps exploring a side investment and so on, I'd really focus on this idea of productizing yourself because it's absolutely powerful. In fact, it's the new way that people who do not have a lot of money ordinarily can actually go about using today's technology to create something that then goes on to make them a lot of money in the future. Okay, so now that I've explained those 8 different places that your money should go, I want to spend a couple of minutes just explaining the core principles that underlie them. So the first principle is the principle of protection. By that I mean really looking after your money, not just earning money and seeing it just disappear, but actually protecting that wealth. And the more you can do it with little bits of money, the more you'll be able to do it with a lot of money as you start to become wealthy over time. So key elements of that protection include things such as having an emergency fund, for example, or you paying for various bits of insurance, as I covered when I talked about needs. The second principle is the principle of increase, which is why I made reference to having a growth or risk pot of money that you can use to explore various types of ideas. Increase is a really important principle to make a part of your life and is made even more achievable if you set yourself very specific goals around increasing various areas of your money life, such as your savings rate, for example, or your annual income and things like that. The third principle is the principle of priority. And you see that I mentioned earlier that the first three things I suggested on this video was for you to focus on paying yourself first. This is such an important principle as you progress on this journey of building true wealth over time. The fourth principle is the principle of creativity. Creativity when it comes to solving problems. It's actually this idea of solving problems that then enables us to create value and generate extra income from what we do. And the fifth principle is the principle of generous living. This is one that many people ignore. I can absolutely guarantee that if you make generous living a big part of your values, a big part of who you are, it will give so much more purpose to this idea of building wealth, not just for yourself, but also for the better outcome of other people as well. Okay, so as I mentioned, here's an illustration up on the screen right now of an example for somebody who earns £30,000. You can see there, I've got their gross salary on the screen, and the second line you can see there is a pension contribution of 10%, being £3,000 towards their pension. Doing this means they save tax and they're paying into their pension gross. And you can see various key amounts then being deducted for tax, for national insurance, and their annual allowance then being added back to get us to what is their net income for the year. That net income in that example of £21,662 is then divided by 12 to get us down to their monthly net income of £1,805. And then it's from that amount, £1,805, that we then start to apply these other percentages that I've been talking about for the various pots. So 5% towards the emergency fund, 15% towards your stocks and shares ISA, 50% towards your needs. Again, this is for your necessities, and protection, protecting yourself and protecting the wealth that you are building. Next is 10% going towards debt payoff, and the principle there is debt freedom and building wealth. Next, you've got 10% towards charity and giving, and the principle there is all about living a generous life. And then finally, I've allocated 5%, which comes to £90 per month in that example. And the principle here is the principle of increasing what you have and also learning on the journey. And then that brings us down to zero, with nothing left to allocate from that net income. But like I said earlier, this is just an illustration. And I absolutely believe that if you're somebody who follows this plan of allocating your net income, starting with the gross towards your pension, and then these various percentages I've suggested to these 8 different areas, you will find that over time you build a really solid foundation for building wealth. And as your income starts to rise over time, provided you really stick to these percentages and focus on simplifying your life over time, you therefore will not suffer from that lifestyle creep that most people have. Instead, your expenses will stay mostly flat whilst your income increases, creating for you a much larger buffer. And it's that buffer that you can then begin to redirect towards those key areas of investments and learning and things like that to further help you build wealth as you work towards achieving financial independence and potentially even becoming a millionaire one day. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. If you really enjoyed it, please support our channel by making sure that you hit that subscribe button as well. Don't forget to share this video with one other person who might need help when it comes to this area of budgeting and saving their money on a monthly basis. Thanks again for watching today's video. And as ever, guys, in all things, be thankful and seek joy. Take care and bye for now.